Whoa, it's way past 2. What the hell? On your way? Alright. Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the cave. Vegas Bear here as always. Mekumon's on his way. I don't know where Deva is. And Taro and Webb usually don't join us on Tuesdays, which is fine. It feels like it's been a while, though. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. It just feels like it's been forever since I last streamed. Even though it's been like a week, roughly. Anyway, I'm also joined by my lovely puppy, Bella. You can't see her. She's over here. Sec. And then, yep, precious baby, sweet baby. She's not lying on her bed like she is supposed to be. She's instead lying next to the bed and looking at me like I'm a madman. I'm talking to people on the internet, sweetie. You don't know what that is, do you? Of course you don't. You're a dog.
How about Lit Universe and the Cosmic Horror?
Let me just get this back on. And we got a Mekumon.
Yeah, two things. One, recently got back from painting my new bedroom.
Woo!
Two, to answer your question from earlier, when I said the Borok thing was complicated.
I remember you've told me this before, that they used to be Matoran of Light.
Yes. When they make that transformation, their organic parts completely wither away. Their personalities shut off. They are basically just programmable drones by this point. They have ceased being people. Moreover, and this is equally important to remember, almost nobody in universe knows about this transformation, save for the Avatar destined to transform, 3 of the Toanuva, it's unclear if the rest were informed later on, and the great beings who designed the Matoran.
Fuck.
I need to stress this. The Makuta, who had basically been running the universe for a while, making the Rahi beasts and thus the ecosystem the Matoran live in, even they don't know about the Borok thing. The Order of Matanui, who are basically his secret forces, don't know. Presumably.
Shit.
Again, it's another case of unclear.
Well, not to switch topics, but you want to see all the shit I got?
Honestly, yeah, sure.
Okay. So,
Like, as much as I go back to that Balrog topic, it is not what I enjoy discussing.
So, first things first. Oh shit. First things first. I got some new books. Keep in mind this is on the Twitch stream because I
Got it up on the phone.
can't use the camera in Discord when I'm using it on Twitch.
Yeah, I've got Twitch up on the phone. I can see it.
Alright. So I got Absolute Batman Volume 1. The Zoo.
Nice.
I've got Skybound Transformers Volume 1.
Equally nice.
I also got Batman Gotham by Gaslight
Ooh.
in the DC Compact Comics line format, what have you. And next up, I got a bunch of Gochizos from my Kamen Rider Gav cosplay.
Oh, I saw those. You sent me a photo of those.
Yeah, I got more. But I got Almond Cookie.
Excuse me.
I got Senbei Crackers.
It's like a box of raisins for a second.
Let's see. Crepes. Hot cakes. Peach flavored Ramune candy based off the soda. And then chocolate chip cookie. So, out of all the ones I showed off, the almond cookie, the crepe, and the hotcakes do not have their own unique sounds. The almond cookie just reuses the cookie sound, and crepes and hotcakes just use special.
Unfortunate.
Oh, we've been joined by a diva. Hello, diva.
Hey!
I'm just showing off some of the things I got during the weekend.
Neat.
And I'm using the Twitch the Twitch stream because Discord does not like it when I try to use the camera in two different things.
Yeah, it kind of wants you to be on one device for a call.
Yep.
It doesn't care where you put the text in, but it does care about cameras.
Yep. So I got more Gochizos for my Kamen Rider Gav belt.
Nice.
I got crepe, hotcakes, almond cookies, senbei crackers, peach flavored Ramune candy, and chocolate chip cookies.
So, about your snack cosplay,
Yes.
what sort of snacks are you going to be doing?
Okay, so I'm gonna have gummies, obviously, for popping gummy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna,
I will advise on what kind of gummies are best for that.
Okay. Maybe a cookie for Cookie?
So, my biggest concern is that, handing out food at an event, you usually want something prepackaged.
Yeah.
Because while I know you personally would never pull anything heinous with, lacing it into food or whatever, the organizers really cannot take that risk, and you do not want to be kicked out.
That is true.
Or accused of anything.
That's why I thought of just doing the gummy bit.
Yeah, the gummies, because they come in itty bitty little single serving packages, and they are fully sealed.
Yep. And like I can just do the joke of how Gav makes these things by just popping in a gummy in my mouth and then like dropping the gochizo from like from my shirt. Because like the whole joke is
you can do the bit.
Yeah. Like that's the whole joke. He eats something, and it's supposed to come out of the belt, the Gav, but because I'm going to be wearing it over my clothes instead of under my clothes, it's just going to come out from my shirt. All right, so let's pop in Cookie here.
I will be sure to let you guys know when I eventually get my own belt. I am aiming to do so by next month.
Oh, Mekamon, is your address steady now? Is it safe to send you things?
No.
Okay.
I mean, sort of. So, the other house is ours. We're still setting up the mail thing. At the moment, we're just focusing on painting rooms.
Okay, let me know when your mail is set up and secure. Because I have waited this long to send you the package because I wanted to be absolutely sure that you got it.
I appreciate that.
So I don't know if you heard
I take this question to mean you found it.
It did! It only took tearing apart half my room.
So I don't know if you heard that, but the belt just went cookie. Because the cookie.
Who the hell put a Kingler in here?
Because the cookie kicks. When I press the button and it shows, and the thing pops up, it's got two little shoes ready to bash your brains in.
That is amazing.
Sad thing is, when I hear something like that, all I think of is Ash's crabby later Kingler.
Like, how and when did that motherfucker catch that many Tauros?
Deleted episode. Because,
In a banned episode.
Yes, banned episode because the owner of the Safari Zone had a gun.
Multiple guns.
It's the Safari Zone. Of course he has a gun. It's
But he put it directly in Ash's face.
This is Texas. My florist has a gun. It's like, this is America.
Remember,
the florist has a gun.
Remember, this was Nintendo in the 90s asking 4 kids in the 90s to censor things.
I mean, I feel like asking is a strong word for that relationship.
Yeah, more like imposing multiple restrictions to Americanize it as much as possible.
Also,
yeah, God forbid children know what the hell rice balls are.
Don't you mean jelly donuts?
Shut up, you.
So, yeah, the banned episode was about the Safari Zone. Ash and Company were competing with Team Rocket to catch a Dratini, with a deal being, if Team Rocket gets the Dratini, Ash will give up Pikachu. If Ash and Company get the Dratini, then Team Rocket has to leave them alone forever. Ultimately, Ash ends up accidentally catching anything and everything except what he's actually aiming for. And by anything and everything, I mean quite literally every time he throws a damn Safari Ball, a herd of Tauros runs across the stream, and another one gets caught. It doesn't matter what he's aiming at. The Tauros will just manifest.
The Tauros, it's like the Tauros want to get in the ball. The Tauros yearn for the ball.
And that was how he caught 30 toros.
And he didn't think to release any of them.
Remember, this was Ash when he was starting his journey.
Also, 30
Or
tours.
use any of them on his team.
He has, actually.
Again, Ash starting his journey. And he has used a few of them. Or at the very least one of them.
I headcanon that every time he brings a Tauros, it's a new one.
There's a reviewer who goes by the name of that dude in the suede, who had been going over each episode of the Pokemon anime until the company responsible for the English dubs, now their distribution rather, went, "Oh, you made it about halfway to Johto. Would be a shame if we copyright struck you to oblivion."
Yeah.
So they copyright struck him to oblivion.
Yep.
Hashtag secret root tree.
But, yeah, one of his running jokes is that whenever Ash summons a Tauros, he utters number whatever here. It's always a different number.
Nice. Real quick, I just wanna check in. Makomon, your regeneration from the existential crash out wasn't too bad after I posted the selfie, right? You're good? This iteration of you is fine?
Are you generated?
Yes.
How to explain the few ginger hairs?
Blast! Blast! Still not ginger! Oh, he wants to be ginger so badly. I love that one line where it's like, "You look human." He's like, "No, you look Time Lord."
Petition
I mean-
to get Ron Weasley's actor to play the Doctor so he can finally be fucking ginger.
Rupert Grant?
Yes, if he's still in acting. If not, would like
I'm pretty sure he retired to give out free ice cream
right,
on a boardwalk somewhere.
right.
And
okay.
honestly, I can't blame him.
So we'll need to find another ginger person.
Yeah,
What
Emma
a
Watson's
strange-
still pursuing her acting career, and Daniel Radcliffe appears to be pulling a Tim Curry.
And I fucking love
I mean, if he's having
He's-
fun
so-
and not actually hurting people, then all for it.
Well, yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Is he is only working on projects that pique his interest. He's not even doing it for the money anymore because he's kind of set for life as being the quintessential Harry Potter. He is just doing whatever he feels like doing at this point, because that's kind of all that's left.
Keep in mind, he did a movie called Guns Akimbo, where he had two pistols like, in the movie, not in real life.
Is that the one where he's like sort of crouched over with the scary face, the two guns in his hand, and the bathrobe?
Yes, the guns
Yes.
are stapled, are nailed to his hands.
Or is that the one where he looks like what would have happened if Lily had married Severus instead?
I don't watch the movies or read the books, so I don't get this joke.
You know what? That's probably for the best, Makomon. That's probably for the best.
He was also in a movie where he was quite literally a dead man.
He was also in one where he was an incubus. That was fun.
Yeah! He had devil horns.
I look
Honestly,
forward
looks
to the
kinda
day
cute
he
on him.
voices a character in Transformers and nobody knows it.
What?
I look forward to the day he voices a character in Transformers and nobody notices.
Except a few diehard Daniel Radcliffe fangirls, and I mean, they do die hard. You gotta chase them through the vents with a gun and booby traps to get rid of them.
We used to hire Alan Rickman to deal with him, but then he passed away.
I'm telling you, man. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's a Harry Potter movie. It's Alan Rickman chasing a bunch of kids through the hallways and floors of a large building at Christmas. at night.
All right, so we are back with the Roottrees.
I will just add this much while we're here on the note of the Transformers bit. I ended up coming up with a stupid little headcanon that refuses to leave now.
Wait, real quick. Hear me out. What if he voiced Rodimus Prime? I could see
I'd be
it.
okay with that.
Couldn't you?
Yes. Holy shit.
I'd be fine with that.
Like, it's an unconventional voice acting choice, but damn if the voice does not fit.
Again, I can see that.
All right, sorry, Mickelman, you were saying?
I would be all for it. Yeah, the Transformers headcanon that won't leave. Big Convoy is just Leon S. Kennedy.
Damn it! Why are you right? Why are you right? I'm mad about this.
Why are you right?
I ended up coming to this realization while I was playing Resident Evil 9 the other day.
Yeah.
I even basically told this to Bear, and I quote, "Sudden thought, if I were to depict Big Convoy in a modern Transformers story, I'd probably just write Leon Kennedy. Cheesy one-liners and all." Bear's like, "Oh, I can see it too." Prefers to work solo, instinctively driven to protect as many people as possible, tends to end every major monster or battle he comes across with a bazooka of some kind.
Let it not be said you don't have a type.
And Bear's response to that checklist was, "It's weird how often that happens."
It is! It's weird how often a bazooka is involved in taking out a large enemy in Resident Evil.
I mean,
Bazooka,
in fairness,
rocket launcher.
a bazooka is a high-powered splash zone type weapon. Of course it would take out something bigger than a regular handgun.
And the mental image that sealed it for me, if I can find the GIF.
So, last time on The Roottrees Are Dead, we locked in more names. We found out that Guy Hudson really could not keep it in his pants.
I think he's populated half of Rhode Island by now.
So, with the first affair, we know he had an affair with Joanna Robertson. Which may have resulted in David Fellows, also known as 5Ps. His second affair was with a Christine Farrow, which potentially resulted in James and Robert Garland, the Garland brothers, who run a vegan grill joint, I think.
A vegan diner or grill or something like that. Either way, it was wholesome as get out.
Mm-hmm. Lang Jinyu Lang, who is the CEO of a Chinese company that also runs Roottrees China. She has a kid, but never married. And her name is Min Lang. Then he put the moves on Sonia Alves, wife of Edson Soares, and after a lot of digging and like false names, nicknames, and fake names, we found we found her, and we also learned about Flavio Soares, a news anchor. And his final affair was with Susan Ford, who would later go on to become the principal at a school for deaf kids. Her husband Thomas was not very happy when he learned that his daughters were not his, considering he defaced the wing of the school that she teached at. And she had Heather and Melissa Ford. And then, rewinding the clock, we learn more about Miracle Roottrees' infidelity with Mary Beth Quaker. I was about to make a very dirty joke. Never mind.
Please, my ears are huge and they're already burning.
She had 2 kids, both supposedly adopted. Clementine Stewart, who was a police officer, and Mark Crocodile Clementine. A certifiable mess of a human being.
So, who was going to tell me that I was on mute?
I didn't even realize you were on mute.
You were on mute.
Okay. So apparently no one heard it, but I do want to. I say it every time, and I do want to say it again. This man burns things in the oven, freezes beer, and gets women pregnant. He does not know when to pull out.
You say that and my brain just goes, hey, he burned my Krabby Patty. He burnt my fries. He burned my shake.
He burned a shake. Okay, the problem is, I said, how do you burn a shake? And then, rather than saying you don't, my brain immediately went to the way that you could make a frozen dessert taste burnt. The answer's liquid smoke, by the way.
Oh. So,
Interesting.
every time I look at Mark's mugshot, he just looks more and more like Dante from Devil May Cry.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing for Dante.
Yeah, it's a little insulting to Dante to compare them, don't you think?
Yeah. So, Mark got married to Colleen Webb and had 2 beautiful daughters, Mary Clementine and Lisa Clementine. Mark is known for 2 incidences. One where he was arrested for smuggling animals illegally into the country, including a crocodile that bit his foot, hence the name Crocodile, or nickname Crocodile. And
which is one of the kinder resultant nicknames you could get from an incident like that.
Yes.
I personally would have named him Bait.
And then again during Mary's high school graduation, where, despite having a restraining order against him, he came to the graduation to see his daughter graduate, was drunk, got up onto the podium, or the stand, or podium, or whatever.
Lectern,
thank you. And then proceeded to fight the principal, Billy Sims, who then, like, did some fucking martial arts magic and just knocked Mark out cold.
behold my wire foo!
And Lisa went on to be... Well, Clementine went on to be Mary went on to be a travel agent. Lisa went on to be a soldier under the false belief that her father had been an Air Force pilot. Lost her arm and eventually became a professor at, like, a military academy. Met a photographer, actually during war. They fell in love and had Cam Lincoln, whose occupation is baby. And then...
Occupation baby. Like, such and such his name. Former child.
And now we are back to possible infidelity 1 between Elias Roottrees and Bess Williams. And Frank...
I mean, it's Elias Roottrees. It's a lot more than possible. It's likely.
Infidelity?
I was gonna...
In my influential family dating back to the early 1900s, it's more likely than you think.
It's more likely than you think.
Oh,
In
God,
fact, I
we're
dare
old.
say it's guaranteed.
And we have Frank Wildcat Williams, potentially the 7th piece of 6 pieces, and one of the more well-adjusted of them too.
Which, it's not a high bar to clear because the bar is embedded in the floor of Satan's wine cellar in the 9th circle of hell.
And yet Egg Cream managed to clear it no problem.
No, that bar is egg cream.
I love it. We just keep calling
Egg Cream
it
got there, and Satan decided to plant him a dumbass tree.
Yeah, no, like, egg cream limboed under that bar, and that's why the bar is where it is.
I love that we can just keep calling him Egg Cream instead of his, like, real name, because...
Or we could go on record admitting that we don't remember his real name because we don't give a shit about him because he sucks.
No, I'm talking
Or
about the good...
just alternatively say he doesn't deserve a real name, so Egg Cream it is.
No, Egg Cream's the good one.
Sorry, my bad. Cinnamon Extract.
Yeah, Cinnamon Extract is the one... His twin brother, Cinnamon Extract,
Egg
is...
Cream, it's funny. Egg Cream's a cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon Extract is a literal piece of excrement.
No, cinnamon extract should have been a cream pie.
Cinnamon Extract is a rotten egg.
Ah. But yeah, Edward Clancy Roottrees, a.k.a. Egg Cream, is, like...
I keep mixing them up. I keep thinking egg cream is the bad one.
Yeah,
no, it's cinnamon extract.
Because their names are...
Cinnamon extract is the reason why it is okay.
Their initials are
cinnamon
literally
extract
reverse each other.
Yeah, it's cinnamon extract. They're twins. I mixed them up.
Yeah. Apologies to Egg Cream.
Yeah, Egg Cream, he essentially adopted his...
Is a sweet, sweet cinnamon roll who is too good for this sinful world.
Yes, he adopted...
Which apparently is too good for this family.
He adopted his older brother's...
I know what I meant.
A bastard child. Took care of her, raised her to be a smart, independent woman. Longer? Hi, Taro. And Samantha would go on to write 6 pieces, which would finally bring her father and his sacrifices to light, as well as the sacrifice of her youngest child, Ernest Madsen Jr. He was the fourth company president, and because of the Clancy Trust, had no money to his name. Anyway, we were looking over Frank's family tree, and last time we found out that his daughter Barbara, who is now a public speaker, met a guy when she was 13, 15. What's tomorrow?
Besides Wednesday?
Tomorrow's tax day. No, wait, that's the 15th. My bad.
The 15th. Isn't that a Noise Squidward Day?
What's the date today? It's
Tuesday the 7th?
So it's April 7th. So it's 4/7.
And tomorrow's the 8th. Taro, you're kind of losing me here.
Is this a thing Americans wouldn't get?
Or is this a specific niche Kamen Rider date or something?
Like Kaiser Day.
Hold up, I'm not in the Twitch stream because my phone will explode. But what is
Birthday.
Taro saying?
Oh! Tomorrow is Taro's birthday.
Or at least the
Yeah.
birthday of someone close to him.
Yes.
I'm sorry, man. I genuinely forgot until you reminded us. You'll have to pick a game out.
Unless it's Webb's birthday, in which case tell her to...
Pick a game out.
Yes. God, we are really slow on the update, aren't we?
I mean, in fairness, my last 2 months straight have been perpetual busyness in hell.
I don't fucking know, man. It could be any damn reason you're excited.
You can be excited that there's a sudden grasshopper man doing backflips and kicking people in lucha libre masks.
So yeah, we found out that Barbara had a kid when she was like 15. And her parents being the goats.
Thank you. Finally. No more koi.
Thank you! Taro, you need to remember, we're idiots. You can't play coy with us. We won't get it. Also,
I wasn't the brightest kid in school, and I've only gotten dumber over time.
Also, Deva, you're muted.
Thank you.
You're
See,
welcome.
I would point that out, except I never know if it's intentional.
You were playing coy by not fucking telling us.
Let's just Well, let's just get back to the Roottrees. Ed Taro can pick the game whenever he wants.
So yeah, Barbara's parents, being the goats, adopted her daughter Sharon, and Barbara avoided the responsibilities of motherhood, mostly because she knew she was not ready for it.
Apparently, over by the plane crash, there are people investigating lots of men with hats and dark coats. Something about a milkman.
The plane crash is still there. It's been a year.
Evidently, they refused to clean up the crime scene.
Okay. And, Sharon got married to an Andrew Smith who unfortunately died in a motorcycle accident. And now, the almighty duck.
So I have my birthday. Speaking of birthday streams, I have my game picked out.
Oh.
Pokopia.
I'll have to make that title card very damn quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy Pokopia. Which, I was planning on doing that anyway, so it's not a big deal.
Okay. I was gonna say, shit. Should I choose something else?
No, I was planning on getting it anyway. The only reason I haven't gotten it yet is because I got Mega Man Star Force collection.
That's fair. That's fair. So I was thinking it could be like the Saturday of my birthday rather than the actual birthday, because I work on my birthday and I can't play multiplayer with you.
That should work.
While I'm working, so.
Yeah.
The game's multiplayer?
Yeah, it's got a multiplayer function.
Is
You
it
can,
exclusive to Switch 2, or could I play it on an ordinary Switch?
I don't know. So, the way the multiplayer works is after... Do you mind a tiny little spoiler?
Fire away.
After a certain amount of progress, you unlock the ability to do link play, which lets you visit other people's game worlds, show people your own, and go to shared game worlds that are separate and you can all work on together.
That way you can make as much progress on your own world as you want and not interfere with this one. I see.
I feel like it's a pretty good way to do it.
Well, as long as Dialga's screwing with space-time to do this.
Dialga is screwing with space-time like it's his full-time job.
Look at that last name. What the fuck?
No, yeah. Dialga and Palkia are working together on this one. Time and space.
I can't even tell what nationality this last name is from.
Hold on. Ugh. Are you not familiar with, Polish? That general region of Europe?
That's Polish?
No, it could be Czech or it could be Slavic. What I'm telling you is it's Slavic regionally. I do not know the precise origin country.
Okay.
I will tell you it's Slavic.
That's a hell of a last name.
Lastrozemski?
Yes.
Not really.
Well, considering originally her last name was fucking Smith.
I mean, I don't blame her. Her name was Smith.
Actually, no, wait. Her last name would have been Williams.
Shifting
That's
gears a
almost
little
worse.
bit. Deva, if you had to represent yourself as a Pokemon in a Mystery Dungeon style whole human to Pokemon conversion, or in your case, Eldritch Being to Pokemon conversion,
Yeah.
what would you be?
Goodness, that's actually a pretty hard question. What generations are included?
I am not posing restrictions on generation.
Are you posing restrictions on legendaries?
I would be pretty
Okay, back
hypocritical
up.
if I did, because mine is a Mew, so no.
Okay, back up. What restrictions are you imposing?
That is an equally good question. As much as I want to say there are no restrictions, I'm just gonna go on the safe side and say no Ultra Beasts.
That's fair. So I am left with which Pokemon do I believe represents me, which Pokemon do I like best, and which is my favorite.
Wouldn't that just be Gengar?
You'd think that, but no.
We'll do this in order of categories listed. We'll answer her each one in turn, and we'll pick for the results. Because for the rest of us on the title card, I already have a Mystery Dungeon story to pull Pokesonas from. I just have yet to move it to a place where you've been able to see it.
Oh, we've got another one.
Ah, crap! Here we go again.
So, Peter. I'm just gonna say Peter. Was her her late husband's college roommate. And if we go back to the wedding photo, he's right here next to Andrew during the wedding photo. So, after her husband died, I guess she eventually got married to Pete. She and he had never spent any significant time together until she became a widow and they built a charity together. They left the charity behind because it was growing beyond their ability to run it. That makes sense. She also brags about her kids, Tony, Mark, and Cricket. Her oldest, Tony, seems to get the short end of the stick. His two listed accomplishments are that he's the oldest and he's a straight A student. Alright, hold on. So, Cricket, Smith, straight A student, so he's probably in school.
So Megamon, you were saying?
You already listed several categories: favorites, Pokemon you feel best represents you, etc. We'll start with those, and we'll pick from the finalists.
So we've got Snorlax, just because he's one of my favorites. He also does well in the represents me category, you know. He eats, he sleeps. He's big. He gives worm hugs.
I was gonna mention the hugs.
Gengar does well in those two categories also, just because, I have been known to get up to some mischief. Plus, ghost types are cool. Though, if we're going specifically for, my persona as portrayed on the channel, Giratina.
I can see that, yeah.
But, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a mascot game. Generally, you don't have a little house where Giratina lives and he's all cute and spritey.
I mean, I can still do a chibified Giratina.
That is fair.
I was saying, though, of course I'm going to allow legendaries and mythical Pokemon. I'd be pretty hypocritical if I didn't, because that is my own OC right there. I have a Mew.
Sheem. Blaziken.
York is near the end and has an entire section dedicated to her. She's an actress on a local television show called Libberry Library. And the reason Sherry relocated from Miami to Orlando. Sherry, in addition to being hireable to come do your due, is a stylist for the show. Passage also mentions that her agent recommended they change her last name to York since it was easier to pronounce. The rest of the section describes how she got the part, but it seems unimportant to your search. Alright, let's take a look at Libberry Library. Libberry Library is a children's show filmed at a studio in Orlando, Florida. It's been on the air since 1991. In the show, multiple adults and children interact with different animal puppets in a small town called Libberry. Unlike some other popular shows involving non-human performers, this one isn't funded by the public. Instead, it's paid for by donations from businesses related to education. This includes textbooks manufacturers like Corithmetic, tutoring companies such as EduC82U, and a few well-known publishers of picture books. From what you can find, it's syndicated in a few markets across southern United States and in New Hampshire for some reason. Like most other children's entertainment, many of those that grew up with it tend to have fond memories. That works in your favor because the show has been documented by a few fan sites. There's even a library web ring, though it only has 3 entries. You click through the sites in the ring and find that Cricket York joined the cast in 1997 at the age of 5 and is still listed as a current cast member. A picture of Cricket from one of her first episodes have been added to your evidence. Alright. This is Between the Lions.
Or Sesame Street.
It does say it's... They did say it's set in a library.
Okay, yeah, it's just straight up Between the Lions.
Like, I'm not even mad.
What's Between the Lions?
So basically, imagine if Sesame Street grew up slightly and was teaching more reading comprehension than just numbers and letters.
Okay.
And instead of being on a street,
but it feels like you should be saying between the lines, and it's like a verbal typo in my brain.
It's a pun, is what it is.
Because the library is run by a family of lions.
That pun's so awful, even I think it's bad.
quite telling that my favorite segments tended to not involve the Lion family.
Wait, hang on. This is a real show?
Yes.
Oh, yes. It ran for almost 10 years on PBS.
Well, that would explain it. The only time I ever saw PBS was when I was in the waiting room for for the dentist's office as a kid. It was all History Channel and Discovery and some Animal Planet for me. I was occasionally permitted to watch cartoons on Cartoon Network.
When it came to PBS Kids, naturally, because of the ages I was when I caught glimpses of it here and there, it would be for the slightly older crowd, but not like, oh, just go watch Cartoon Network older. So I'd be sitting through stuff like Between the Lions or Cyber Chase. Cyber Chase basically was a trio of kids who got warped into cyberspace to help its, well, I hesitate to say guardian deity, but that's basically the role she serves, Motherboard, attempts to recover after being sabotaged by the hacker, voiced by Christopher Lloyd.
But it turns out what you're doing here might have some pretty major repercussions on the family tree.
It was just about the only thing that made math tolerable to me.
Also, there's something really strange happening. I can't explain it.
It was also one of the first handful of shows I remember watching where I was watching exclusively for the villain.
I'd call it a simple misunderstanding, but it's digging at the pit of my stomach. I just have a feeling. Clark?
Last week, let's just say being the president, sometimes people bring me things.
Just skip to the important part.
Right. One of our janitors brought me some hair she'd found in Ruby Spratt's trash. It was Bonnie Hudson's.
Wait.
Bonnie is Guy's sister. She'd sent us her hair to test potential Roottrees, since her DNA is closest to Guy's. But Ruby threw it out, and I wasn't sure why she would have done that. Especially right before we began testing the tree you provided. When I asked, she told me she thought the samples needed to be fresh every time they did a test.
That's not true.
It seems really odd. Ruby was the one who convinced us to do DNA testing in the first place. She seemed so knowledgeable. I don't like it. You've done more of a deep dive on these people than anybody else has. Clark will keep a closer eye on the DNA tests from now on. You have an eye for anomalies. We need you to find the smoking guns.
If there's anyone you're 100% positive can't be a Roottree,
or any you've got definitive evidence are Roottrees, then we might be able to catch Ruby in a lie.
All right.
Yeah, there's no reason to destroy evidence. Unless she's trying to hide something or keep people out of it, or you know, skew the results.
Now, why would Ruby, a lawyer, want to hide evidence and skew results?
I mean, Ruby, who is a lawyer who definitely knows better about evidence tampering, considering the ethical standards they, you know, are supposed to be holding themselves to.
All right, so now comes the hard part. We need to figure out who is potentially a Roottrie, as well as figure out this inconsistency. So,
I'll go find Arceus's files.
So, I'm going to say with 100% certainty that Mark is in fact Miracle's son. Oh, we don't really have... There's some clues that we don't have. Duck. I am like 100% sure that he is a root tree, but we only have 4 out of 6 evidence. And I don't want to,
Jump to conclusions.
Yes. So, yeah. Search periodicals. Picto tree. Courtney May was her daughter's name. Corin S. Yeah, that makes sense. It's not a full name. Right. Right, the company records.
Delayed quack.
Corinne Schwartz. Right. After she was named in a national tabloid, people have come to her place of work and have accused her of being a non-mom. The article explains that it's impossible for her to be a non-mom because her only child is still in middle school. Whilst her son's gestation period was approximately 10 years, it doesn't appear like Corinne could have been involved in any of the potential affairs on your tree.
Connection error on Deva's part. She will be back.
Alright.
You know, something I just considered now. Do you think Scourge ever tried to take the Matrix back from Rodimus to get that power boost again?
It's a good question.
I did show you that episode, right?
I think so.
It was called The Burden Hardest to Bear. Great. Brief recap here. The plot of the episode had Rodimus losing the Matrix during a tussle on the road with two of the Stunticons. They brought the Matrix back to Galvatron, who attempted to power himself up with it. Got haunted by the spirits of the Autobot leaders of the past. Gave it to Scourge to hold him to dispose of it. Scourge decided, nah, I'm gonna use it. And it horrifyingly mutated him into some kind of deformed monstrosity.
I vaguely remember this.
Of course, with that mutation came a massive power boost, and he used that to basically make both sides hit this glitch until he eventually got into a rematch with Rodimus.
I was gonna rage about, my internet connection, but that sounds way more interesting. Do go on.
It was an episode of Transformers Generation 1, third season, titled The Burden Hardest to Bear. It was one of the best character development episodes for Rodimus in the series.
I'm telling you, man,
one of the only
Rodimus voiced by Daniel Radcliffe. Hear me out.
Hey, I'm not arguing against that. I'd be here for it. If only because it means Rodimus in the spotlight again. Or
Even just as a cameo.
Speaking role.
Even just as a cameo, as long as he gets lines.
Get the guy.
As long as he's got a speaking role, I'll be happy.
Get the guy who played a chosen one to voice a chosen one.
Bear gets it.
So do I.
Yeah, all of this smokescreen as next Prime nonsense from Transformers Prime. I'm sorry, no.
So, you want to know a fun fact about that?
What?
According to show staff, Smokescreen was intended to be Hot Rod, but because they couldn't get rights to the name, Hasbro couldn't, they switched him out at the last second. It's why his personality reads more Hot Rod than Smokescreen.
Okay, that's better, but he's one of their characters. How do they not have the rights to the name Hot Rod?
I mean, look at how they lost the name Bumblebee for 20 years, and you tell me.
Yeah. Or they could have just called him Rodimus from the start.
That's largely what they've been doing in most of the toy lines. Rodimus Minor, Rodimus Major, just Rodimus.
Yeah, they could have just called him Rodimus and had it been done with it. None of this smokescreen nonsense. I don't like smokescreen.
See, I like Smokescreen.
But if he's Hot Rod,
he's Hot Rod.
He's not acting like Smokescreen. He's acting like Hot Rod. And frankly, I expect Hot Rod to act like that, so I find it endearing when Hot Rod does it. When Smokescreen does it, it's like, who are you and what have you done with Smokescreen? What is this, invasion of the Body Snatchers?
That movie had a fucked up ending.
Yes, it did.
I'll take your words for it.
Specifically the 1970 version of the
We
film.
don't need to get into details, Bear.
No, I was just going to say that specific version of the movie had the fucked up ending. All the others had normal endings. That's
Anywho. To summarize the episode one more time. Rodimus got into a fight with two of the Stunticons. Ended up getting run off the road, knocked unconscious. They stole the Matrix, gave it to Galvatron. He tried using it to power himself up, only to get haunted by the ghosts of previous primes. He gave the thing to Scourge and told him, dispose of it, destroy it. I don't want it anymore. Scourge attempted to protest, was threatened into compliance. Once he had a moment alone, he just put the Matrix into his own chest, going, "Hey, Galvatron's a fool, I know how to use this better." And it mutated him into this horrifying abomination. At least as far as G1 Animation was allowed to get away with. And he wound up making both sides his glitch. Until Hot Rod, having learned his lesson about responsibility and how much he belongs to the Matrix as much as it belongs to him, shows up and basically bulldozes him.
So, came across some very important information here. First of all, Courtney Mae Newton, formerly Watts. Everyone has everything wrong. My mom approached the Roottrees before 5Ps was ever on the cover of News Time. Nobody at the Roottrees company took us seriously. They only listened to us after we appeared on TV and in magazines. The site has a scanned letter from the Ruby legal group to Courtney Mae's mother, Beatrice. In very polite legal terms, it seems to accuse her of exploiting their name and orders her to leave the Roottrees alone. It's dated from a few weeks before the 5Ps article appeared in News Time, and it seems legitimate. Courtney Mae also discusses her mother's magazine feature in more detail. You know how difficult it was to convince anyone to tell our story? Mom didn't want to show her face because everyone in the media we approached assumed she was lying, because her story was just like 5Ps. But my mother's story was first. Mom was advised by Ryan and Cork to tell News Time that seeing 5Ps on the cover was what inspired her to go public. That's the only way News Time would agree to it and help her get it on TV, but that's not true. Our story was first. Courtney's defense continues, but much of it seems repetitive and useless. Towards the end of her page, she discusses the DNA test and defends her mother's character. My mother is amazing. She's the nicest woman in the world. She has diabetes and works at a department store, but still managed to help pay for my apartment in the big city so that I could stay with my high school sweetheart. I got a degree in nursing, so I learned about DNA in college, but I'm beginning to think it's all a lie. Mom is 100% confident that there's nobody else who could be the father. Either they did the test wrong or DNA is complete BS. She's not a liar. Very, very interesting.
Sounds like someone's in denial.
No, it sounds like there's a cover-up. A conspiracy, perhaps.
They breed his people!
Megumon, get the corkboard!
Way ahead of you!
So, first of all, the Ruby Legal Group sent a letter, a cease and desist letter, to Courtney Mae's mother, Beatrice, a few weeks before 5Ps appeared on News Time. So, before he came out saying that he was a secret 5P, a secret Roottrees. Not only that, but if Courtney is telling the truth, their story came first, but everything seemed to align in such a way that it made it seem like their story was second. Almost like someone was keeping them from revealing the truth until 5Ps could go public. So this is Beatrice Watts, formerly known as Anonymom. Daniel Newton, I believe. Newton. Courtney May Watts. She is a nurse. And Beatrice is... She works in retail, I believe. Alright, so we got that all down. Ryan and Cork. Ryan and Cork is an unremarkable law firm based in North Carolina, named after its senior partners Winston Ryan and Gregory Cork. The firm mostly handles local cases and recently represented Anonymom. Their website has a section about the case, including a scan of the DNA test results to prove that Jane Doe Roottrees was not a Roottrees. 0.5 match, not related. Huh. Dinatico is a DNA testing company. DNA testing is a relatively new phenomenon that allows scientific laboratories to prove a possible family relationship between two people. It's fairly cutting edge for 1999. The method by which they tested samples has only become standard in the last decade, as of the early 1990s. According to their site, Dinatico was responsible for the DNA test that proved Felix Fellows was a Roottrees, and even uses it as an example of how DNA test looks. They use it to provide some information about their process. Whenever they take a sample in person, they put in the name of the person on the test according to their legal ID, which is why it says David instead of Felix. Because Guy Hudson is dead and there's no known DNA source from Guy. I mean, have you looked? He's probably left it all over at least 5 countries. They tested Felix's hair versus a hair sample sent from the Roottrees. It's listed as Jane Doe because it wasn't collected in person, but the Roottrees company let them know it was from Bonnie Kellogg, Guy Hudson's sister. This is why it says it's a paternal aunt test. The left and right sides sets of numbers are essentially signatures that perfectly match DNA of the two people in question and nobody else. The way the test works is that if certain parts of the signature are shared, then it's very likely two people are related. As far as you can tell, Dinatico is a legitimate company. They don't seem to have any reason to create fake results or hide the truth. This is pretty damning. Wait a minute. So the DNA tests aren't necessarily lying, but wait a minute. Clark said that the janitor found a piece of Bonnie Hudson's hair in the trash. Is it possible Donetko was sent in the wrong hair sample? Mary Beth Clementine. Mary Beth Clementine came to Butler County a few times, and she played religious hymns at the Miracle Congregation's church. She's mentioned 2 times, though the first visit from 1949 was significantly more substantial. Miracle Congregation welcomes Mary Beth Clementine with open arms. The article mentions that the church's leader was moved when he heard Mary Beth's recording of one of his favorite hymns, His Eye is on the Sparrow, and reached out to her personally. His Eyes on the Sparrow holds a very special meaning to me. As you know, I've had a very difficult upbringing, and it's no secret that my own eyes have always been a source of struggle. The song is about overcoming sadness and hardship through Jesus. If God can find a way to watch over every sparrow, He can certainly watch over those made in His image. My family's fortune does me no good as a man of the Lord. It's much better spent spreading His word, and I have felt kinship with Mary Beth ever since I heard her voice. When I learned her personal story, I knew I had to help her in whatever way I could. The Bible is full of adoptions, from Moses to Esther. Spending your life taking care of those helpless to help themselves is incredibly noble. She and her son are welcome to stay in our guest home. The second visit was a few years later in 1953. The article mentions that her first visit was a massive success, and the insistence of Miracle's congregation, she returned for an encore performance. It also mentions that the unusual circumstances of her second son's adoption have prevented her from touring recently, but doesn't clarify. Basket Baby of 1950. A few sites about true stories focused on and around religion mention that in 1950 a gospel singer named Mary once found herself dealing with a real-life baby Moses situation. Apparently she was a rather prominent supporter of the concept of adoption, and someone decided to test how much. They left the baby on her doorstep in a basket. According to the sites, she adopted him without question and raised him as her own son. Though it wasn't national news, in many circles he became known as the Basket Baby, and he even went on tour with her as he grew up. None of the websites state who the woman or baby were, likely to prevent people from looking into either of the people too closely. From context, you know that it's Mary Beth Clementine, who would later be shunned due to her personal life, and her son Mark, who would later be known as Crocodile Clementine. I want to look at something real quick here.
Lots of thick, you can cut it with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, this feels insufficient. Take this machete!
Because isn't I changed the last name because it wasn't hitting before, so maybe I don't know. Nope, Sterling Edison. Then why is it not clicking? Alright, hold on. Oh!
Yeah, but you're muted.
Because his last name is Edsel, not Edison. Okay. And also, Regina's last name wouldn't be Clementine. Well, I mean, it is Clementine, but it wouldn't be that on the tree because maiden names. So. So we can all agree that this basket baby thing is a load of horse shit, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that he was bailed out of jail by essentially his half-brother's sister-in-law. He's definitely a relative. Which means Mary, Lisa, and Cam are all relatives. But there's really nothing on Stuart that would suggest that he's also blood relative. Because the first time Mary Beth went to to Miracle's church, she already had her first son. So it's impossible for him to be a Roottrees. Five Ps used to perform under a different name. You should look into it. You can find his old stage name on its Spider Search results page. Alright. Thank you, Almighty Duck.
I posted some stuff into the chat here I think you'll want to see from that episode.
Thank you, Megamon.
Oh my god!
First batch with Scourge is what happened when he put the Matrix in. It's just been kind of universally agreed by fans that he mutated this way because he was a creation of Unicron reacting to the artifact of Primus that is the Matrix.
I mean, that, and when you try to force the proverbial hand of a choosy artifact, bad things happen.
He looks like he's been stung by bees.
I mean, I kind of think he looks like he was made out of Play-Doh.
That too.
The transformation was so painful that he was legit crying for several frames.
It looks painful. It looks like he turned into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and then a surfboard.
And while he was initially damn near unbeatable, note that it's only when a Hot Rod shows up to take the Matrix back that he suddenly winds up without most of his power.
Yeah, because the Matrix is like, oh, hey!
That's not a, biomechanical transformation. That's a transmutation of his entire being.
And I still love that Galvatron attempts to use the Matrix by putting it into his cannon, and when it fails to fire, there's a couple of frames where you see he looks directly into the barrel of the cannon before yelling at the Stunticons who brought it to him.
So who are those ghost guys?
They're generics meant to represent the previous Autobot leaders.
Yep.
Optimus Prime was seen among them, but his voice is the only one not audible.
It's a weird choice.
That bit I mentioned with Galvatron looking into his cannon. I just find it amusing, because, it's only It's only there in animation for like a second.
You find an article about the dedication ceremony for the local Portland landmark called the Fountain of Youths. Apparently, at the unveiling of the fountain, the mayor of Portland made a speech, and there were performances by many local entertainers, as well as a ribbon cutting from the people most instrumental in bringing the fountain to fruition. The article calls out that all of the performers and speakers, with the exception of the mayor, were foster care alumni, and most of them grew up together as close friends. This includes poets, musicians, and dancers. Dirty Davy was listed as one of the musicians. Okay. Fountain of Youths, also known as Foster Fountain, is a fountain found in a small park in Portland. All proceeds from change thrown into the fountain were donated to the foster care system. Website for Portland's Parks and Recreation mentions it under a trivia section that the Fountain of Youth was originally conceived by Ruby Spratt, and an alumni of the foster care system. As more businesses signed on as sponsors, it grew in scope, even beyond Spratt's original hopes. The fountain is unique because it has special targets that visitors can aim their coins towards. If a coin lands on one of these targets, each of the sponsor businesses... Each one of the sponsor businesses matches it. Oh! This isn't a huge amount of money from each business, but more than 100 businesses have agreed to participate, so each penny becomes $1. Well, isn't this suspicious?
Who left a smoking gun here?
Ruby Spratt, an alumni of the foster care system. And earlier, Dirty Davy, Felix Fellows, 5 Ps, was listed as one of the musicians that performed at the unveiling ceremony. And that all the performers and speakers, which would include 5 Ps, were foster care alumni, and most of them grew up together as close friends. Which would mean that Ruby Spratt, the head of the legal team that the Roottrees hired, knows 5 Ps. And 5 Ps has several songs about how the rich should give up their wealth for the poor. Yes I Can Jump is a song that was on a 5-piece mixtape, Dirty Devil. It seems to be the only song that didn't make it into a studio album that people thought should have. In it, he references a popular movie from 1992 called White Men Can't Jump. This reference has caused some confusion among the fan base because of it. It is agreed upon that the mixtape had to come out in 1992 at the earliest, but others point out that Fellows references seeing the movie on his 17th birthday, which would have been in 1994. Some take this to mean that the album had to have been released in 1994 at the earliest. Others claim that he was likely just trying to make himself sound older, since in response to some of the more questionable lyrics, he has stated multiple times that he was just a dumb kid when it was released.
I put something else into the chat. I just thought it was amusing.
Teen Blast. 5-piece is popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted towards teen girls, they seem to be paying attention anyways. While he hasn't done any interviews with the magazine, they've listed him among the hunky hotties for the past few months, with small bios that tell you various facts about him. This includes his real name, David, his birthday, February 9th, 1977, his star sign, Aquarius, and where he grew up, foster care in Portland. Letter to the editor also claims that it's not possible that he was born in 77, as he claimed a song called 17 Magazine, or he claimed on a song called 17 Magazine that he turned 17 in 1992. The editor responds with a statement that they've reached out to his agent to ask about the song, and they were told it wasn't performed by 5Ps and they shouldn't print rumors. What the fuck? How old is this guy? "17 Magazines," sometimes referred to as 17 Magazine, is the title of an unreleased and controversial song by Dirty Davy. There's mentions of it on a few sites claiming that it was on the first release of his first mixtape but was removed. There's no audio or visual evidence of it existing, but there are independent accounts from people who have claimed to have heard it, and they do generally line up. According to their recollection, it was about many different loosely connected occurrences of the number 17, mostly violent. The intro states it was written on Davy's 17th birthday and involved a fictional but glorified series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title. The person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Jeffrey Dahmer had pleaded guilty to killing 16 people in 1982. Due to major acts of gun violence in schools and the schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games, it is generally considered in very poor taste to bring it up. Most of the people that enjoy mentioning it online are either trolls trying to shock people or come from the morbidly curious corners of the internet. So, it says the intro states it was written on his 17th birthday.
Rodimus.
Yeah, I just thought the image was amusing. The mere existence of this image confused the TF wiki, by the way. Eating a breakfast that Magnus prepared. Somehow.
Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottrees rift about what really happened with Roottrees. The article mentions that nobody from Roottrees that they reached out to was willing to go on record. It said the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. Timeline says that the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottrees died, but before the release of Six Pieces, and decided they wanted Ron Roottrees to take over because of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was a well-known and well-respected Roottrees. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the Clancy Trust or remove Robbie Roottrees. Family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When Six Pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight, and released the press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. He tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark. But according to Business Watch's sources, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the Clancy Trust, and they eventually let him go. After that, the role passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed like the safest choice. Enterprises. Show older. Clancy Trust was mentioned many times in Business Watch. Most results were from the 40s and 50s, but occasionally more recent references creep in. From context, it's clear that it allows the entire Roottrees family to earn money based on the profits of the candy company. The first article you can find from 1943 mentions that the infallible legal aspects of it were designed by Clancy Edward Roottrees to secure the future of his father's famous name. Might be able to find some more details online. Alright. Show latest. Clark Rafferty LaRue, as well as Ruby Spratt and her company Ruby Legal Enterprises, were featured in Business Watch after the company took over as keepers of the Clancy Trust. There's an article about that process that interviews both Clark and Ruby. It seems that Ruby actually approached the Roottrees sometime in late March after the Roottrees rift, but well before Roottrees Mania. An accomplished but relatively low-profile lawyer, she offered to work for very little money so long as she could be a public face to build her reputation. The family quickly jumped on this chance, as many family members often attempted to spend as little as possible to keep their shares of the Clancy Trust as high as possible. After looking over the Clancy Trust more carefully than anyone had in years, Ruby came to the conclusion that Clancy Edward Roottrees' implementation was not legally sound, and that there were there would be constant legal challenges without some modifications. The family decided to put her in charge of the trust, both legally and as a public face, to prevent further issues. Ruby Legal Enterprises has been described as a mix between a law firm and a PR firm. Her first move, as sort of a trial run before she was even hired permanently, was to help them draft a public statement accepting Sam into the family and declaring that they begin to address the client's trust. This went quite well, and they officially hired her in early April. Ruby Legal is now in charge of many financial aspects of the company, including verifying any claims to the trust and organizing the various charitable causes, such as scholarships that have been set up in the name of the deceased. So she approached them.
Interesting. So what this considered, she played them like a damn fiddle. That like a cheap kazoo.
Ruby Spratt, like her legal company, is relatively elusive. The most complete source of information you can find from before her time with the Roottrees is from the website for a magazine owned by a major airline. She was the subject of one article from a recurring series about modern-day success stories. Ruby grew up in foster care, but excelled at school and earned a scholarship to study at Mid-Eastern University. There, she graduated top of her legal class and was quickly hired as a lawyer for a prominent firm. There are a few high-profile corporate-involved cases she was a part of. One was a legal consultant for a class-action lawsuit against a manufacturer of steering wheel covers. Another was to help a local gas station chain in her hometown of Portland with the rollout of a promotion that allowed gas station customers the ability to bet on the price of gas? What?
Nani?
The blurb ends by calling...
I beg your deepest Krispy Kreme fried pardon?
Betting on the price of gas.
That's... What the fuck?
Stock market-y.
The blurb ends by calling her new firm a double threat. Her company's services are a cross between a traditional lawyer and a PR manager.
And once again, playing the Roottrees like a bunch of cheap kazoos.
Mm-hmm.
More images I found amusing, by the way.
No.
I looked into the guy who made that drawing of Ultra Magnus and Hot Rod, and it turns out he's got a very cute style.
Yep.
Ruby Spratt
Aw, snow
graduated
day.
top of class from the Mid-Eastern's Legal College. Her valedictorian speech was somewhat controversial at the time, as it was quite serious with a heavy focus on wealth inequality. This didn't go over well with the predominantly middle to upper class audience in attendance. The editor of the Herald at the time said Ruby, unsatisfied by simply earning her place at Mid-Eastern with a full scholarship, went on to earn a captive audience of her peers with a perfect GPA. It felt like the ideal occasion for a celebration of an undoubtedly incredible individual. However, by the end of her speech, there were many in the audience that wished that neither of those events had transpired. It was a passionate attempt to use her soapbox to
Proselytize
her fellow students and their parents into the religion of poverty. But unfortunately, judging by the silence, they remained unconverted. Interesting.
Basically, she got preachy and nobody was there for it.
it's a thing that she was being preachy about that interests me. Ruby Spratt was featured on the Portland Telegraph when she was in high school in an article called Local Teen Making Change for Foster Care System. According to the article, Ruby Spratt grew up in the foster care system. Grew up in the foster care system, was apparently the valedictorian for her school, and was a Girl Scout who, at the time of the article, was earning her Gold Award. This required a project to help the community, and Ruby chose to raise money to build a fountain she called Foster Fountain. The fountain has a few small pedestals that stick up high above the water. People are expected to toss coins into the fountain for good luck and will be encouraged to aim at the top of the pedestals. All the coins scraped from the bottom are slated to be donated to Portland's foster care system. The coalition of local businesses that sponsor the fountain have committed to matching any of the donations that successfully land on the targets. Was even featured in Business Watch in 1992. She missed out on Watchman of the Year, but did have a pretty sizable article that mentions some of her history. She was born in 1947, first of 2 children. Her mother was already in her 30s when she had her and had trouble conceiving a second time until 3 years later. This was Jinyu's sister. It became clear that her father was not going to have a son to pass the family business down to. This is how Jinyu became involved. Her father stayed the president of Langtai for a very long time, and his daughters grew up. He began training them in hopes that one of them would have a son who could take over. One helped him in China, Jinyu, and the other in the U.S. Neither were given any official titles. When he died due to societal dynamics, the business passed to his male sibling, a younger brother. Many in the know knew that this could be a problem. His brother, Jinyu's uncle, was not a businessman and was not much younger than his brother. During this time, Jinyu essentially ran the company as her uncle's consultant. He began to have problems related to dementia, and Jinyu, who had already been running things behind the scenes, performed somewhat of a power play. She stopped working until the results of her absence began to cause problems. Only then did they admit they needed her. That's damn. It's like, oh, you think you don't need me? Okay.
That is a boss bitch move, and
Yes.
make no mistake.
She stops working, shit goes bad, and they're like, okay, we admit it, we need you.
Like, she was the logical heir, but, socially, they had to give it to the next guy.
Mm-hmm. Fertilization. As brand new, barely a year old after the first successful IVF birth in 1978, it seemed that the industry began to grow, and a feature article about different companies all over the world and the cost that they would charge for their services was in Business Watch. This included a few cases of high-profile customers willing to pay a premium. apparently at the time the CEO of Lang Tai was Lang Hongbo, and his younger daughter Lang Jinyao and her husband could not have children. So in an attempt to create a suitable heir, he paid Kui genes to have their child implanted in his older daughter, who was unmarried. The cost of this was apparently... Oh, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Spells out a huge controversy. It seems that a whistleblower came forward to the U.S. government about Kui genes, which was said to have been founded in China by a partnership involving American and Chinese medical specialists, who then built their medical facilities in the United States. The article mentions the whistleblowers claim Kui genes will sometimes claim they performed IVF when they did not. This would often be used as an excuse for an otherwise unexplainable pregnancy. They'd fly their clients to America, where they would stay for an extended period of time, then return to China with news of a successful IVF pregnancy. The whistleblower apparently presented the Department of Health and Human Services with credible evidence. At the time of the article, it was still an ongoing investigation, but Business Watch speculated, after copies of the proof were leaked to various media sources, that they couldn't imagine a world in which the company would be allowed to continue operations without facing serious legal or financial consequences. Holy shit. Alright, so we're already at 2 hours, and we're like near the end of the game. We just gotta go through a bunch of fucking articles. Should I just go through, because I have a guide up. Should I just go through and mark down the who's a root tree and who's not?
Honestly, I kind of feel like that's cheating.
Huh?
I said, honestly, I kind of feel like it's a puzzle game, you know? A guide feels kind of like admitting it beat you.
I know.
It's not like a fighting game where it's, oh, you just need to get better at the patterns. If with a puzzle game, oh, you got handed the solution.
This is more of a time constraint thing.
Suppose that's a decent exception.
Yeah, because we've got, like, we're already at 2 hours, and we have a shit ton of articles to go through for proof.
So instead of bogging down next Tuesday with all this, we could just end it here and now.
Yep.
Suppose that works.
Also, for those of us who enjoyed Transformers 1, here you go.
All right, starting from the far side, from the far left side, we got good old Frank Wildcat Williams. We have all the smoking gun pieces, but there's no, because Bess Williams died in a hurricane. And because Elias definitely didn't bring up anything about Bess outside of that damn propaganda book,
So might be a Rootree, but impossible to prove.
Yep. Alright.
Not without a DNA test. But
Yep.
we've established that there are folks currently sabotaging them.
Yep. We already went through Stewart. He's not a Rootree. His brother, on the other hand, definitely is. Courtney May Watts. I'm going to say she is a blood relative. Because knowing that Ruby Spratt threw away Bonnie Hudson's hair, the thing that they were using for DNA testing, is highly suspicious. The fact that she also knows 5 Ps. I'm marking this fucker down. Alright, so we got James Garland. This I do remember from when I played it the first time. He is a blood relative, but his brother is not. Because they were born at different times. Let's see. Min Lang is definitely a blood relative. What with the whole scandal with Key genes or whatever. Oops. And Flavio is definitely a Rootree. Because we know for a fact, Guy put the moves on Sonya.
So, there's a bunch of black vans parking outside the cave.
Don't worry, the defense system's got covered. Let's see, Heather and Melissa Ford.
When did we get auto sentries?
Don't worry about it.
They're shooting the cars.
Don't worry about it. So, we know for a fact that Heather and Melissa are definitely Guy's kids, because Susan's husband went on a fucking tirade and defaced a part of a school when he found out the truth. And wait, that should be everyone, right? Wait, what the fuck? Ronald and Robert?
I mean,
Always the ones you least expect, right?
Okay, we got like no evidence, but that's why I got the tree up. What? The guide up. Wait, what? Oh, good intentions are the road to hell is paved in with good intentions. Oops.
What's up?
Look at what I put for Ronald.
Ah!
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Well,
If I remember correctly, Ronald was, I think, the son of Wild Bill Williams, but not Gwyneth, or not Gwyn. And the woman that he had Ronald with died. I think from complications from childbirth. So he took the kid in along with Gwyn. So he was, he was made a Roottrees. The only actual Roottrees here is the one with the drug problem. Or no, sorry, gambling problem.
Yeah. It all makes sense now.
Alright. End of the game!
Woo!
Wait, what? Oh, optional entries.
Oh, come on, there's just one left.
Beatrice and Courtney May. Clark, can you swing another test against Bonnie's DNA?
This time I'll be sure to have them verify both samples in person.
1 week later.
Using the family tree you filled out, as well as DNA tests, we were able to uncover the truth behind all the inconsistencies. Clark's handling the business, but I've come to thank you and fill you in on everything we've learned. Buckle up, because it's been one heck of a week. Actually, that's an understatement. It's not every week you discover your family company is being sabotaged by someone they trusted.
Was it Ruby?
But that's the kind of time we've been having. Like I said, buckle up. Maybe grab some popcorn. We'll start with Guy Hudson. Guy had a frankly ridiculous number of potential children. What shocked me is how many graduated from potential to confirmed. We can even prove he was aware of them. The smoking gun was how he used company money to pay off a lot of women. He hid it with a method inspired by his idol, Elias. 5-piece flavors. The flavors he was paying to research were a ruse.
I called it.
He developed flavors based on the initials of the women he was paying. Which was really stupid, considering one of their names started with X. Let's start with Christine. Guy was paying her under the name Caviar, but there were some other clues. James was born 9 months after Zach's party. Christine was there with Guy, and when she got pregnant, she panicked. Steve stepped up. He even turned it into one of his recipe stories.
I was right. The recipe story was about how Christine ended up pregnant with Guy's kid and was like freaking out.
Not all of Guy's affairs led to offspring. He may have slept with Robin Martin, but she didn't have children, so we'll never know. Also, not every child of Guy's affair partners were his. Robert Garland was born after his parents had already moved to Boston.
So yeah, Robert wasn't a root tree, but his brother James is.
Skipping Beatrice for now. Up next is Leng Xin Yu. When Guy showed up in China, she was into America. And Americans. Dare I say redheads, even? When she got pregnant, her father paid key genes to fake IVF. They claimed her sister was unable to conceive. But her sister and Jerry had their own son, Mark. Sonia Alves was soon after. Nia was married at a very young age to a much older husband. She resented him. I don't blame her. They allegedly spent no time together in private. Guy was in Brazil during Christmas 1979. It's the only Christmas not in the records.
Yeah, look at the look he's giving her and she's giving him.
Flavio was born 9 months later, and like the others, Guy started paying Sonia. Last was Susan Ford, hired to translate for Guy's overseas trips. It's easy to read into Guy's donation to her school, but there's no definitive proof there. She and Guy were witnessed together near the end of his life. Susan's husband was convinced he couldn't be the father of her daughters. Guy, though, paid double. The price of twins.
Right. Sugar Plum was $20,000 a month.
As opposed to 120, as opposed to 12,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what about 5 Ps? Felix Fellow's mother, Joanna, doesn't have a 5 pieces flavor. On top of that, his story doesn't really add up. His mother already left the company by the time Guy became president, and his lyrics indicate he was born sometime around 1975. Alone, that wouldn't necessarily prove it. But there are some suspicious connections between Felix and the company's current lawyer, Ruby Spratt. They both grew up in Portland, in foster care, and according to the local paper, they definitely knew one another. Ruby was the one who approached the Roottrees to begin with. It was all a setup. Ruby and Felix saw my book's challenge to the Clancet Trust as an opportunity. His mother really had worked for Roottree, and Ruby was a respected lawyer. She exploited my family's greed, worked her way into control of the trust, and ensured Felix got a piece. But they made some mistakes along the way. If you look at the 2 DNA tests that Ruby handled, they were both supposedly tested against Bonnie Hudson.
Oh shit. The numbers are different. I didn't even notice that. Fuck.
But the 2 signatures that should both represent Bonnie don't match. After Clark and I confronted her, Ruby lawyered up. Ironic, I know. We suspect Ruby had Donatico test Felix against his own mother's DNA. He had a hairbrush of hers. They sent the female sample in remotely. On the second test, Bonnie's sample was tested locally, but Courtney May's was not. Ruby's been throwing away samples. We think she sent her own hair instead of Courtney May's, but it could have been anyone's. Ruby and Felix were in cahoots. As for why, they were both advocates of wealth redistribution. A noble effort, But once they controlled the family fortune, they became just as greedy as the worst members of my family. The money corrupted them.
So, like your uncle's cinnamon extract.
They were so eager to personally wield the wealth for their own cause that they sabotaged any other claims.
Yeah, bitch! Get your fake ass out of here.
That finally brings us to Anonymom, aka Beatrice Watts. Her tales of guys' parties and payoffs were true. She even approached Ruby before 5Ps was on news time.
Which, like I said it before, that didn't seem right. If she had approached them first, then why did yeah.
Ruby used Beatrice's truths to make Felix's lies feel real, then ruined the DNA test so that Beatrice looked phony in the public court of opinion. I feel worst for her in all of this. While Ruby and Felix stole the show, there were some other potential new family members as well. Miracle Roottrees was less of an open and shut case. That said, it's very likely he had a son with Mary Beth Clementine. Not Stuart. Mary Beth adopted him before she ever set foot in Butler County. That leaves Mark. The timeline fits. He showed up about 9 months after Mary Beth visited Miracle, and the basket baby story is a bit too convenient. If that's not enough on its own... He was also bailed out by the sister of Edith Roottree, Miracle Jr.'s wife, after she changed her name to win that silly contest. Our best guess is that Mark was told by his mother whose son he was, and used that fact to put some pressure on Miracle Jr. We have no real proof of that, but nothing else really makes sense for why they'd be connected in that way. Elias's affair was the most ambiguous. Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias to do things he wouldn't have otherwise done, like pressure to include me in the family. My son even mentioned them arguing about someone named Beth. Combined with Gwyneth's lisp, it's possible the name was actually Bess. Unfortunately, all we know about Bess Williams is that she wrote his book and died not long after, leaving her only son an orphan. The timeline fits with Wildcat, but there's no record if she had any other relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't say we had enough evidence either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Elias cheated. Of course, I'm a bit biased. Regardless, we haven't gotten in touch with any of the Williams clan yet. That means we haven't been able to do a DNA test. As Clark mentioned, from here on out, all of our DNA tests will be in person for both parties.
So Frank is inconclusive.
Lastly, we have a bit of a curveball. Ron Roottree isn't related to us by blood. Gwyn was definitely pregnant, so it's likely Robbie is. When Ron and Robbie went to visit their mother at the end of her life, something changed. Additionally, there have been a few rumors circling around Ron. RR Productions canceled the Guys Like Us remake due to the director's illness. At the same time, Ron's wife Penelope began doing benefits for Huntington's disease, stating that she had become familiar with it.
Oh, so Ron's real mom didn't die in childbirth. She had Huntington's.
Huntington's is the same disease that Gwyn's former co-star Leslie Florence had. It's passed from parent to child. It can't skip a generation. Because Gwyn and Wild Bill didn't have Huntington's, and Ron seems to, it's impossible Gwyn was his mother. I recently confirmed all this with Ron. At the end of her life, Gwyn told Ron the story. Leslie and Bill had an affair the same year Leslie learned she had Huntington's. Leslie got pregnant. Leslie wasn't likely to survive to see her child grow up. And even if she did, she didn't want to be a burden. She begged Gwyn and Wild Bill to adopt her child. Gwyn did. Mere weeks after she found out she was having her own son, she also took in Ron. Wild Bill was a problem. Unreliable and a serial adulterer. Gwyn divorced him and never saw him again. Gwyn had already told Starlet she was pregnant, so it never really made waves when people saw her with a child in Paris. There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. In actuality, it was the final months of her only pregnancy. To lay low, she stayed in Paris long enough that even her own family never had reason to question the timeline. It's one heck of a story, and frankly, nobody could be expected to piece the timeline together. Not with what few mentions of Gwyn's past have survived. But the Huntingtons itself? That's proof. Ron suing Robbie to remove him from the Clancid Trust was a huge moment in my story, and a major catalyst for this entire investigation. Finding out that it's been pretty much backwards this whole time has been a bit surreal. So that's where we're at. Looking over the information you sent us was invaluable. You got everything absolutely correct. Why did we even bother hiring a team? You figured it all out solo. All this information. This entire story. It's a lot. In more ways than one. Some of it
Do you think
has
they
the
posted like
potential
that
to
for
destroy
guilt trip
marriages
purposes?
and ruin relationships.
She's like, you figured it out all by yourself. Like, do you think they phrased it that way for guilt trip purposes for people who turn to guides?
Maybe.
Because I kind of felt like a little guilty about it by proxy, and it wasn't even my idea.
We're handling it all
I
very,
feel nothing.
very carefully. But we couldn't have gotten here without you. And with that, I guess our tale has finally, truly come to an end. What
Surely
a
you must feel
strange
something,
one it
or your
was.
censornet is malfunctioning.
No words can express
What I mean is, I don't feel guilt
for
over this
untangling
because,
mess.
in my eyes, we used a resource to solve a case.
Honestly, I've had enough of my family's eccentricities and scandals for one lifetime. I
It's
imagine you have as well.
eccentricities, woman. Eccentricities!
And if not, well, there's always Elias's and Gwyneth's brothers and sisters.
No, thank you. I think I'm done with. No offense, Sam, but I think I'm done with your crazy ass family.
Attention, attention, Roottrees. This is 5-Piece coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is the root of all your problems.
So what, in this world the Roottrees are essentially the Kardashians or some shit? Like, people actually care about this sort of thing?
cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it based on your family's creations. Yo, but look at here, son.
Kind
Don't you
of.
come for our money or you might burn bread
Huh.
in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick and her two dads. My pappy's Clancid Trust should keep you away.
Okay,
Disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known.
how do I skip this bullshit?
You don't.
There we go. Huh.
How does it feel to be free of the Roottrees?
Feels good.
Liberating.
Feels very
Freedom!
good. So that is it. As another game beaten. So, yeah. No more Roottrees. Starting next week, we will be continuing Call of the Sea, and after that, we will be doing, Dispatch.
Yeah.
And as for tomorrow, I don't know what we're doing because Taro never sent me anything.
At least we don't have to do any more RE5.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, no, I was kind of getting tired of Resi 5 shenanigans.
Oh, believe me, you're not the only one.
Yeah, and
You're
I
not
wasn't
the
even the
only
one
one.
playing it. I wasn't even the one playing it.
Alright. Thank you all for watching. This has been Vegas Bear 92.
With Mekumon.
And Archival Deva.
And also sweet baby girl Bella.
Bella? Baby girl.
She's been by my side this entire time. Not sleeping on her bed and instead using it as a pillow.
I mean, that's better than the alternative,
What?
where Serafina steals the dog bed and the dog is kind of relegated to the cat bed.
And
Like,
if,
it happened enough to be a
With our
trope.
cat Loki, where he's so big he needs a dog bed.
if you like what we do and want to see us keep doing it, feel free to support us in any way you wish, whether it be monetarily or through engagement. Every little bit helps. And with that said and done, thank you. Yeah. Stay safe, stay comfy, stay hydrated, stay healthy, be good to each other. And we'll see you on Wednesday for whatever the hell Taro wants us to play.
Peace.
Peace. We can finally put the Roottrees to rest.
Can I get the shotgun now?
In
You get the shotgun. Get the shotgun, I'll get the shovel.